Hi guys, this is Carol. Welcome back to my channel. In my last video, I shared that my husband and I are pursuing IVF to grow our family in the future. And I talked a little bit about the why we are pursuing IVF and some of the challenges or hurdles that we've sort of had to go through to get to this point. I'm back with an update on where we stand in the process. This has been our first IVF cycle. Surprisingly enough, I don't want to say that it's been easy, but it's just been a lot smoother than I think I expected. The first thing that we did to start our cycle was ordering the medication. When you're doing IVF, your doctor or one of your coordinators, because you do in essence have a team. You will have a clinic coordinator, a nurse, you have your doctor, a tribe of people who are with you every step of the way. One of them will reach out to you with a list of medications that you have to purchase. They may or may not provide you with a listing of pharmacies that they work with. Mine did. And they actually even shared the pricing menu, I guess you can call that, for some of these pharmacies. Much like anything else really, you have to price shop for these medications because they are not cheap. I created an Excel spreadsheet that broke down all of my medications and I split it across different pharmacies. Without getting too into the weeds of the details here, we had an option of getting the medication covered through my insurance. The thing is that if we were to do that, the cost would have been deducted from our lifetime IVF coverage amount. But I quickly found out as I was just speaking with the pharmacy that if we were to submit a claim or if they were to bill the insurance for the medication, they were going to charge the insurance a lot more than if I were to pay out of pocket, which meant that it was just gonna eat up all of our allowance for IVF. And we didn't really want to do that because the clinic itself had already broken down the costs for the treatment. And long story short, it made sense for us personally to pay out of pocket for the medication and let the fertility clinic bill the insurance for their side of costs, which included the morning monitoring, blood work, ultrasound, retrieval, and a few other things. I can make a video to go a little bit more in depth on what the costs are like. So very, very important to price shop to find the pharmacy that provides you a competitive price because there really is a difference between pharmacies. Once I started taking my medication, I was told when to go into the clinic for morning monitoring, and that included ultrasounds and blood work. Every time I went there, those are the two things that I did. And at the end of the day, or I guess a few hours later, I would get an email from someone in my care team with the next step. The next steps could be keep doing what you're doing, or it could be add this medication on top of what you're taking and come back on X date for a follow-up. I believe I mentioned this in my earlier video that you want a clinic ideally close to your home because you will be going in for morning monitoring pretty frequently. I want to say that is perhaps one of the more tiring aspects of the IVF process. Just be tiring to have to commute to a clinic for 10 minutes worth of tests every day. And at one point it got to be every day. I had to take my shots nightly, and Nick was the one, my husband, he was the one who administered most of these, although there was a time where I injected myself. I don't want to say that it was painful, but I did prefer when he administered the shots. I can't describe it fully. It wasn't painful, but I just thought it was a little bit better when he did it. These medications, it could take a while for you at night to just prep everything. There was one medication called Menopure that I had to mix a powder with the solvent, measure everything out into another vial, unscrewing a needle, putting in another needle, tapping out the bubbles, taking the alcohol wipes and rubbing out the area, pressing a gauze against your skin. So it can seem like a lot, but you quickly get the hang of it. So I just got back from my first check-in since I started the IVF cycle. It's been 3 days since I started the medication, and based on what I saw, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot going on in there. There was just very few follicles. There were a total of 4. They completely ignored the side with the cyst, which is the right side. So I don't know if that means that they won't get any follicles from the right side, but from the left side, there were only 4 follicles. Day 5, or after day 5 going to day 6, I went in for my monitoring. Seems like there were some follicles growing on the right side, the one with the cyst. So there were baby ones. Makes me feel a little bit more hopeful about the retrieval. And that night, I was told to add on a 3rd shot to my evening routine, which is the ganirelix. I'm going in for another checkup on Friday. So far, I don't really feel bloated, maybe slightly nauseated. My dog is just, say hi, Thor. What are you doing? You're crazy. What about you? Anyways, as a result of just me continuing the process and continuing to take up all this medication, I had to place an order for extra Menopur and ganirelix to last me at least through the weekend, and the package just arrived in the mail today. I have enough medication until the 26th, which I believe is a Tuesday. Hopefully I won't need anything else after that, because that will bring our total cost of medication a little bit over $6,000, I think, right under 7. So hoping that we're done with medications, at least for this round. But right now I'm feeling like I will probably need a second, just for my own sake, to have as many eggs as possible.
53 by 36. Then there's an 11, an 8. Left side there's a 10, a 12, a 10. There's an 18 by 6 millimeter cyst on the left side.
The goal of an IVF cycle is to grow as many follicles as possible within the ovaries. But not only that, you want these follicles to grow at least 18 millimeters plus. So in my monitoring, you could tell that some follicles were 10 millimeters, 13 millimeters, 15 millimeters. And what dictates that retrieval phase is the size of the follicles. They may not be all consistent or all the same, but the goal is to have as many follicles in the 18 millimeter plus range so that they have a higher chance of being mature eggs, because only mature eggs will be fertilized. That's why you go in for the morning monitoring, so that you can track the size of the follicles and know exactly when to trigger. They do look bigger.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 17 on the left, 15, 18, and 17, and 7. Let's head over to your right. And the right, you had that cyst, right?
Mm-hmm.
15 on the right, 17. Mm-hmm.
This is the 3rd back-to-back appointment. I was here on Friday, Saturday, and now Sunday. Today's Sunday, the 24th of April. And the feeling that I'm getting is I will probably have 3 to 4 mature eggs. Today is Monday, the 25th. Just got done with my monitoring. Definitely getting closer. Follicles are closer together, which makes me feel a little bit better. And they're all growing, so that's exciting. I got a call from my gyno this afternoon confirming that the retrieval will be this Thursday, the 28th. So that's good news. She did say that we should be expecting about 3 to 4 good eggs, but that 1 or 2 will actually make it to the next stage. Even though I kind of expected 3 to 4 eggs, I really wasn't fully expecting it to just be the 1 or 2 making it. So that's a little bit sad and frustrating because it's been 10 days of continuous medication, roughly a little bit over $6,000 for us to really only get 1 good egg. It's not the most positive, beneficial, happiest thing, but it is what it is. We've decided to just roll into a second cycle. I will be starting a new round of medication, I believe 5 days after this retrieval. The doctor also mentioned that she will be draining the cyst in my right ovary with the hopes that it just makes more room in there for new follicles to grow. She said that it's not a sure thing that cysts have any impact on the amount of follicles. She said it can go either way, but it doesn't hurt to just drain that cyst and get it out of the way. Those are my dogs. And basically, hoping for the best for the next round. She said rolling into it is just the best way to increase the odds. So hoping that that's the case. Lastly, she mentioned that they will be removing my IUD and said that it should help with the next cycle as well. Tonight, I'm going to take my trigger shots, and then I also have some doxy pills that I have to start taking tomorrow morning. And yeah, Thursday seems to be the day. When they actually called me and told me that I was gonna roll into a second cycle, believe it or not, my initial thought was, where are they gonna prick me for blood? Because my arms are already pretty bruised. And in my mind, that's what it just popped up as, like, what am I gonna do now if the cycle just starts right after this one? Other thing I thought was, it's gonna be such a pain going to the clinic so often. It's tiring, and I can't really complain because I've been working from home. So, it's not the worst thing. Although today I went to work after my monitoring appointment, so it was just a longer commute. But just the idea of having to leave my home this often or this frequently for just a 10-minute appointment, it's insane. I know it must be done, but those are just kind of the things that popped into my head as I started to absorb that we were going to do this again so soon. I haven't been really having a whole lot of bad side effects. The main one I would say is nausea in the last few days, but nothing that makes me not want to eat or anything that truly interferes with my day-to-day activity. It's just an inconvenience, I think, that I've been experiencing. Nothing major though. I wanted to add on to my list of side effects. I mentioned nausea, but actually I've also been experiencing some back pain. Nothing crazy, but I have been taking some Tylenol every now and then. And I think it's because of all the medications, but back pain. Add that to the list. So for the trigger today, we have Pregno, which is these 2 little bottles, and the syringe is to use with that. We also have 1 shot of the leuprolide trigger, and that needle is for that. Some alcohol prep wipes and sterile gauze. I almost forgot our awesome friend, the Sharps container. It's Thursday, April 28th, and today is retrieval day. They told me that the whole procedure was going to take 20 minutes, but I have to stay there for an hour plus arrive 30 minutes before. So all in all, I'm going to be getting there at 7:30, leaving hopefully by 9:20. So I'm back from my retrieval. I've actually been back for a few hours now. Everything ran smoothly. The clinic is super efficient and it just was a great experience all around. I didn't really feel anything. In fact, I just knocked out as soon as they gave me the anesthesia. And the next thing I knew, after I woke up, I was already in my little chair in the, I guess, waiting room slash recovery area. I was a little bit groggy at first, but within a few minutes, I was already fully awake and alert. I didn't really have any pain other than some minor cramping, for which they gave me some Tylenol. I've been, of course, just laying down and not really doing much, but no side effects, no pain, no anything. The retrieval itself lasted 20 minutes, exactly what they told me would take. And even to the time that my husband came to pick me up, they were precise. Like at 9:20, I was done. It runs like clockwork. Really, really impressed with the service at my fertility clinic. They told me that they were able to retrieve 4 eggs, so that's what we were expecting. But they said they would call me tomorrow with the number of eggs that were able to get fertilized, so those which were mature. And I'm hoping for at least 2, but there's a possibility that it could be just 1. 1 is better than none, but that would be a little bit upsetting and sad, I think, if we just got the 1. I would advise anyone doing this, or any woman in general who experiences cramps from periods, to get a heated electric pad. I had no idea about these, but as soon as I woke up from the procedure, I already had one on me, and it felt just so comforting and nice and warm that I asked Nick to purchase one for me on his way to pick me up. And it's life-changing. Before this, I used to boil water and put it down a hot water bottle. And then I thought, like, we're in 2022. We should not be boiling water to have a warm thing to put on your stomach for cramps. This is a great little gadget here. 100% recommend it. Even if you don't have a procedure, it's like life-changing. I got a email from one of the coordinators as a follow-up to the retrieval, and to our unexpected but amazing surprise, all 4 of our embryos had been fertilized. So that was not expected at all. As I previously mentioned, the doctor had told us to have lower expectations and hope that maybe 1 or 2 would be mature enough to be fertilized, but no, all 4 of them surpassed our expectations in the best way, and we are very, very excited about it. We are gonna continue and do a second retrieval. I think my hormone levels are good, that it makes sense to just try it again. Don't know too much of the science behind it, but my doctor just mentioned that it's better for us to try now than to let the hormones go all the way down to then build them back up and track the whole thing again. So that's what we are going to do. I have an appointment coming up this Wednesday, May 4th, to do another ultrasound and blood work to check how things are going. And I'm going to be placing a new order for medications so that we can basically do a repeat of what we just did. After the second cycle, the plan is for us to submit a sample of all of our embryos to the laboratory that specializes on preimplantation genetic testing to see really how many of our embryos have TSC, because that's going to guide the next step in our journey. But that's my update for now. As I mentioned, we're going to be ordering some more meds and we'll start to get ready for our second cycle. Hopefully we'll get a few more embryos to get screened for TSC. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Looking forward to sharing my next update. Until next time, bye.